Okay, so today I am investigating the old lawn building. Is there a way to save this thing? You can see inside, a huge chunk of the roof is missing. Water's been getting in for years. The doors are all bent up. Can I straighten them out? And I just unearthed this little brick entrance. I remembered it being here as a kid, and then I thought, well, maybe that was a false memory. It was like buried in 2 inches of dirt, so I don't know. Well, I got the doors off. I had to remove 2 of these bricks to do it. So I think the thing is that this whole thing has sunk into the ground. So that's why the doors buckled, because they were pushing into the ground. So let's see, we got fence posts, we got some fencing, we got a ton of scrap wood, 2 whole plastic garbage cans, a wheelbarrow, sawhorse. There's like a pitchfork, some saws, a whole frickin' dolly, some shelving, which is nice. And then like some random paint and some other junk in here. My dad said this roof collapsed in some blizzard from the snow. Okay, so after thinking long and hard about the old lawn building here, I've decided it's too far gone to try to save. I mean, mainly it's because of the roof, but you can see it's all just rusting out pretty much everywhere. So I went ahead and bought a new one, and the new one will come Thursday, and I'm gonna be putting it on this concrete slab. There used to be a garage here that was like built in the 40s, torn down in the 70s. The slab remains and it's in good shape. So the shed did come yesterday. This is the box for it. And I had them drop it here on the concrete, and I had opened up the box just to get a hold of the instructions and the fasteners and just take a look. But then I left everything sit out overnight, and a freak storm blew the box open, and then it rained all over everything. So I dried off all the wall and ceiling panels, stacked them up against the mulberry tree like this, and wrapped them in a tarp because they're going to have to be out here. It's going to be raining for the next 3 days, I think. And now everything else is down here in the basement. Alright, so today was to be the day to build the shed. But then I got to wondering, how much concrete do I really have on this slab? And there was this whole railroad tie at the edge that I moved out of the way. And so there's the actual edge. It's like 8 inches under the dirt, but it's not just dirt. It's like this fortress of dirt and buried bricks interwoven with tons of roots. So I want to move this frame as far back as possible so I have room to move stuff out the front here. There's the little ramp. But to do that, I kind of got to get rid of all this other crap first, because I don't want to have to be digging all this crap out later when the shed... Let's see. It's like Indiana Jones around this yard. Okay, I think I got all the bricks and cut out all the major roots, and now I'm going to see if I can shovel all this crap away and sweep it real good. It's hard to see anything with the harsh shadow of the shitty fence, but I did clean it all up and sweep it up. And that is about where I want it to be. It leaves enough room to get back there and enough room in front to roll something out of there. Well, now the wind is kicked up, as illustrated by this piece of garbage. And you can see it blowing through the treetops up there. And Instruction Boy wants me to put up these giant wind sails, effectively, as the next step on the corners, like so. And you just know they're gonna like blow all around and rip themselves out of their screws. So I may have to call it a day. Okay, step 1. Okay, finally got the top supports on, and my god, that took way longer than it should have. Thanks to these super vague instructions. I do have a friend helping me put this together today. Alright, we got the 4 walls up, and we decided to rotate this thing 90 degrees. So, just so you can see that we got the back of it there too. She's all done. We got the roof on. Kind of hard to see. Little corner pieces. Little ornament there. Doors open up. They fold right into the sides like that. That's nice. I've got a ladder and a tarp in there already. Yep. Yep. Just gotta fasten her down to the concrete. Okay, we're bolting down the shed today, so you might want to turn down your volume. This is a little loud. Not as easy in practice as in theory. This one just snapped off inside its hole, so pretty much can't do anything else with it now. Okay, well at least I've got the 4 corners, and they're down pretty good. At least 1 screw in each corner. Those ones are in there good. I think the key is to be patient with the drill, but also I don't want to overheat this thing, so slow and steady is going to win this race. So I'm cutting away the spray foam from yesterday down here at the bottom where the gap is. I'm just using a regular old knife. I'm destroying this blade, I'm sure. But it's actually a good sign that it sticks this well to the concrete, because they say it's waterproof. Okay, I got it cleaned up decently. So I'm gonna try going around the entire base inside and out with this window glazing to maybe keep the water out, hopefully. Okay, I had just enough to get completely around the perimeter on the outside and inside. So I have no idea how well this is gonna work. But window glazing is supposed to stand up to the elements and be able to handle the rain and stuff and adhere to stuff like this. So we've got this little, like a dog yard back here that's fenced off. My dad doesn't want to part with it, but I need access to it from the outside. There is no, like, outside access. So I want to put a gate, like, right here, right by the corner of the porch. Because this electric mower that mows this little yard is going to be in this shed. Alright, we're finally back to the shed. I finally got a piece of pegboard mounted in the back here. And there we go. I don't know about these two, but that is definitely my great-great-grandfather's saw. It's been sitting around on this property since 1885. And I just found it in the old shed. That's one of several of his really old tools that are still hanging around. And now it's going to be hanging in the shed. Remember how I said this yard is like Indiana Jones? Well, yeah, I was cleaning up the area where the gate's gonna go, and lo and behold, there's bricks that were hidden under like an inch of dirt and overgrown with weeds and stuff. So that's another archaeological find here in the yard, although these go back to like the 90s. I remember these being there. Okay, so it all started with the question of whether or not I could fix up this shed. I determined that a wood shed was way too expensive because of lumber prices. So I got myself another steel shed. And now it's bolted down, sealed up at the bottom, and I finally got all my stuff in here. We got like a 4-foot ladder, the electric mower, all my shovels that were down in the basement, a bunch of tools and cords, a push mower over here, an electric weed whacker, and then a shelving unit that I don't even have anything on yet. Took the whole damn month. Now I just gotta clean this one out. Okay, a new week begins. I bit the bullet and bought some new 1x4s, 8-foot planks. They were $3 a piece. Definitely more than they were pre-COVID, but still it was only 12 bucks, and I figure that's worth it. That's where I want it. Right on the goddamn pencil line. There's my 4 sides of the gate, and now I've got to miter the corners. Okay, so that's more like it. Now I just need a middle piece. Okay, so my cuts were not exact. Inside corner is exactly 90, and there is kind of a gap coming out here. It shouldn't be too much of a problem because of the kind of brackets that I'm using to hold these together. It all should square up pretty good, and then I can just fill that in with wood putty or something. I don't know. Okay, but before I go any further, I'm going to stain these pieces before I start putting the hardware on them. Well, lots happened since last night. I got all my boards stained, and I got all my L&T brackets spray painted black. Now it's time to square up a corner and get it screwed in. First thing to do is fill in this gap. Now this gap is way too big for wood glue, so we're just going to deal with it later after we've squared up the whole frame. Okay, I'm going to do that on all four corners. Okay, so everything is now square. We're going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. But on the flip side, the brackets are going to be further out toward the edge. And do you see how that corner is tightening up? That gap's getting real small. And it's a lot more stable than it was. This corner looks good, that one looks good. And even on the flip side, it's like the gap is much closer together. Tomorrow, I'm going to sink a long screw into each corner like so. And then we'll add in wood putty to cover the gaps. But before I do that, I want to get like 2 cross beams in here. Okay, night 3 with the gate. I have my cross pieces cut and stained. They are very close cuts, so it's going to take a little bit of persuasion to get them into place. There. Yeah, well, that way. That's kind of what I'm going for, kind of a Frank Lloyd Wright kind of vibe. It doesn't agree with the guideline, but square is square. Is this really a good idea? The problem is that hole is right on the edge, so can I angle it in? Okay. And the flip side's going to have to overlap it going the other direction. Alright, secured the front side of the first one, but the second one's going to be harder because the first one is in its way. Going to kind of wingle it in like that. Wingle, wangle, done. That's the gate from the front. That's the gate from the back. Front, back. I'm out of time for this TikTok. Okay, we're back for night 4 with the gate. I've driven in my long screws on the sides. At least on the top, they're on the sides. For the bottom of the gate, they're actually just on the bottom. Gotta leave the top alone because that's where the rain's gonna hit. The cross beams, I did manage to toe nail in 2 screws per beam. So together with the angle braces, I'd say this thing's holding itself together pretty well. Okay, well I just got a call from my brother and I want to talk to him, so I'm just gonna leave all this weight on top of the cross beams to stop them from bowing out and leave it overnight. This is gonna be another short one tonight, but I was at this for 2-3 hours. Basically, the problem is to get sections of fencing in the top and the bottom and get them to fit. And I found that I could do that if I added like a 1/2 inch to the side. So I did that all the way up. So the spacers now have to be stained, and then these sections of fence have to be painted black. I don't know if you can tell, but they're green. So a lot of fussing, measuring, clipping, and cutting tonight, but it was all done off camera. Busting out the wood putty tonight. Getting in the areas where I sunk in some screws to cover up some of these joints. This stuff is more like epoxy than wood putty. Seriously stinky. Serious fumes coming out of this stuff. Okay, so everything's puttied front, side, and back. Those corners I was worried about originally. Other areas, and so we'll just let it dry, sand it down, touch up the stain, and then we'll be ready for the screen. A lot's happened in the last couple days. Let's clean this up so you can see what's going on. Okay, so in the last video, I puttied up the cracks. Since then, I sanded that putty on both sides as best I could. It is not flawless, but it's not looking too bad, and I touched up the stain on both sides. And the last thing I did earlier today was to go over the inside edges of the cavities with black. That definitely did not have to be done, but I think it'll look better in the end. Okay, step 1 for all the fence parts is to staple in the corners just to hold them in place. Okay, so the way they're going in is over, under, all the way around. 4 hours later, there we go. Fence parts are in. Wires are a little wibbly wobbly. I think it adds to the character. But I think we're damn near ready to hang this thing. So here's where it's going to go. That post is going to be spray painted black. I have to move these 2x4s down in order to accommodate the hinges. This green post was fastened by several screws to the 2x4s. I reduced it to just 1 screw, but now I need to cut out the bottom with the Sawzall. Okay, did it. And I swung it open. And now I can work over here and still put it back for the night while we're waiting for everything to dry. Okay, you guys, mistakes were made. It is far from perfect, but it's in here. I just have to paint this 1x4, and this was my issue here. I thought I had room to come out further and bring a board all the way down, but I didn't. I made it a little too wide. So it's on there, but the bottom hinge is going into this stone with a Tapcon. Still, like, the latch works real good. Opens right up. And it closes real nice. That's what it looks like from the street. The whole thing's slathered in boat deck sealant to make it waterproof. So anyway, all I gotta do is caulk and paint this 1x4 here, and we'll call it done. I'm down in the shop late at night doing some last minute adjustments. I wanted to move the handles up, they were too low. I kind of caulked in the holes where it was and touched up the stain, and then we did this on both sides. Then meanwhile I painted that mounting board, so we're waiting for that to dry sufficiently, and you can't even really see it out here. I wanted to get it done before another week gets away from me, and it's finally warm enough now to do work outside at night, as long as you have like a headlamp or something. So yeah, pulling some late hours to do some adjustments to this thing. Okay, it's just about midnight, paint's still wet, touch-ups are still wet, but I got it back on there. Latch still works. Okay. Basically just wanted to paint the support blue and move the handle up.